We're hitting the road on our way to the newest discovery in the archives, a pair of Levi's found in the eastern Sierra Nevada mountains, Mono Basin. I'm Tracey Panek, historian at Levi Strauss Company and director of our archives. I got a tip about a pair of Levi's 201 jeans found in a cabin. Visiting the cabin was really like a step back in time to the late 1800s. The cabin is very much in disrepair. The logs are falling down, but I could see a little gap in between the logs where the Levi's had been used as insulation. The Levi's were found cut in half so they could be wedged in between logs. Another item at the cabin gave us a clue to the identity of the person who wore the Levi's, an obsidian arrowhead. The cabin was formerly owned by a member of the Mono Lake tribe. The local tribe, part of the Northern Paiutes, is called Kootzaduka'a. Mono Lake is unique in that it doesn't drain. The local tribe is named for the food that they eat. There are brine shrimp and brine flies. The larvae that they create are what the tribe's people would gather, and that's what gave them their name, Kootzaduka'a. I learned after a visit to the Mono Basin Historical Society that the cabin was actually owned by Joe McLaughlin. He received the allotment in 1907 and was there through 1926. According to a 1928 California census, Joe's Native American name was Pa-gu-na, and Anna's Native American name was Pu-yu-no. The cabin was very close to Rush Creek. It made it the perfect spot for someone who was farming. During the time that Joe worked the land, we know that he planted crops and he had the creek nearby to do the irrigation. They needed tough pants to do their outdoor work, and Levi's were an obvious choice. This Levi's 201 that was found near Mono Lake is really a time capsule of the era, the turn of the century, early 1900s. You have the main piece that was found, two parts of a pair of 201s. You can see the Levi's patch at the backside. Lot 201s. This is the value version of the 501, which meant it was made with less expensive denim and less expensive sundries like a cloth patch, and it made them more affordable to a lot of customers. Observing the Levi's, it was clear that they date to the turn of the 20th century. There are two back pockets placing it around the early 1900s. They were patched up and reused and then used again for insulation. You can still see the wear marks on the back, that honeycombing at the bottom. The other items that you see here were used as insulation as well, including this little piece of blue striped fabric. It may have been very similar to the fabric that you see on this picture of a Mono Lake tribes member. And there was also a blanket-lined piece of duck cloth that was actually a part of a Levi's jacket from the late 1800s. When I visited, you could see in the distance snow was still on the Sierra Nevada mountains. It gets cold in the winter, and you can imagine trying to stuff anything you can in between the logs to keep warm. Along with the material used as insulation, there were square head nails indicating the time that the cabin had been made, which is the late 1800s. I love this tiny little piece of pencil that was found in the pocket of that 201. After visiting the cabin, I took a visit to see the Paiute Cemetery in Schurz, Nevada, where Joe McLaughlin was buried in 1929. This discovery and addition to our archives is important in helping us recognize the lives of the many people who have worn Levi's, including those who number among the indigenous communities. Thanks for joining us for another episode in the Levi's Archives.